Oh, story.
Oh, this mother was beautiful. This is where we have that.
Why am I gonna do this? Why do I need to go with that?
Do it again.
It's like, yes, first of all, history does repeat itself.
Sometimes you don't want it.
We don't make the same mistakes. But also, we can't judge how far you come in this.
How you doing, buddy?
On the main,
Man,
I'm home, I'm just stuff around the house
yeah.
and get up out of here. It's the first time I've been in all. This early.
In a long time. Let's say outside of being on vacation.
Yeah. I'm cutting down on that, all work.
Mhm.
So that's all they go through the roads, so. That's all.
Yeah.
I didn't think before you can't take it.
It's hard. It's hard like that. I don't care how much you hustle for it.
Can't take it.
For a lifetime I've been hearing hustle hard. For what? You can't take it with you. Can't take it with you. Was that me? Oh, that is me.
It's good to have. Good to have.
Right. Let's turn this off, disconnect now. Okay.
Today, yeah, today is more.
No, no, like this, but I've got some great goals on this thing.
I appreciate that, coach. I'll take your membership at any day. Any day, any day. Good evening, Miss Cat.
Good evening. How are you?
All is well. Perfect.
Oh, you have a nice crowd.
I know, right? That's coaching them back there.
Oh,
Coach Basinger.
There you go.
okay. Hi. How's everybody?
Doing well, thanks.
Awesome.
Is that Terry?
Who?
Terry Roy.
Cheers. Let's get that. So I call
Hi,
it.
Yeah,
Terry.
Ken.
Nobody
Hey,
can
Richard.
Tommy catch that but him. That's all the way back, huh?
Hey, back.
So without further ado, neighbors, we will definitely get started with our meeting this evening. I slipped up. If we could please stand for a word of prayer and or a moment of silence, all of those that are in bereavement. Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather on this evening. We ask that you keep our minds, hearts, and souls stayed on you. Oh, Father, we ask that you'll just allow us to continue to come together as a community, building a resiliency and familiarizing ourselves amongst each other. Keep us protected in our travels as we go to and fro throughout this day. Make it safe, oh God, we ask. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Awesome. So item number one, if you all want to follow along, we do have agendas that you are more than welcome to gander at, take a look at, familiarize yourself. We also have other information displayed on the table for you to also take a look at, familiarize yourself. We'll be talking about a plethora of it today. Item number 1 on our agenda is introductions, presentations, awarenesses, and announcements. This month, the South End Charlton-Pollard Greater Historic Community Association Individual Business Organization Appreciation of the Month goes to the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Alumni Chapter, Delta Omicron. And we 100% appreciate them and their engagement that they hosted at the park on Calder this past week. I enjoyed it. I know I really enjoyed it. I had a great time engaging with neighbors, enlightening them on what the association does and the importance of voting, as well as what's on the ballot to us. Okay, so we didn't endorse any particular candidates or contribute to any particular candidates, but we did communicate what's important to us. Throughout the rest of this month, if you notice, a member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, whether they're alumni or undergrad chapter, please congratulate them on being recognized this month by the South End Charlton-Pollard Community Association. Awesome. Our awareness for the month is Self-Promotion Month, Bullying Prevention Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, National Non-GMO Genetically Modified Organisms Intake and Awareness Month, Down Syndrome Awareness Month, Family History Month, National Work and Family Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, Italian American Heritage Month, Filipino American Heritage Month, Polish American Heritage Month, German American Heritage Month. One of my favorite meals, it's National Chili Month, so if anybody cooks it, please let me know. I'll make sure I take a Benadryl if you use tomato sauce. I'm allergic. If you don't, we'll be good. Let me know. It's Chili Month, y'all. National Economic Education Month, National Women's Small Business Month, National Blindness Awareness Month, National Fire Prevention Prevention Awareness Month, National ADD and ADHD Awareness Month, National Principals Month. So shout out to all of our principals in BISD. Shout out to them all month long. Drown them in love all month long. National Dropout Prevention Month, National SIDS Awareness Month, which is Sudden Infant Death Syndrome, National Breast Cancer Awareness, of course, all month long. We mean it from our heart, ladies. National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, National Respiratory Syncytial Virus Awareness Month, National Cryptocurrency Month, International Day of Nonviolence, Rosh Hashanah, World Mental Health Day, Yom Kippur, Indigenous Peoples Day, Christopher Columbus Day, White Cane Safe Day, which is for the blind. International Day of Eradication of Poverty. That's on October 17th. Women in Military Services for America. Yay! I love our women in uniform, especially the military service. World Humanitarian Action Day, and those are the awarenesses that our neighborhood association would like to bring to your attention. That's a lot, huh? So look like we're gonna be partying all month long anyway. Any questions as far as our appreciation and or awarenesses in item number 1?
Did you mention
Hearing none.
Alzheimer's Month?
I did not. Would you like to?
Yeah, it's
I thought that
National
was last
Alzheimer's
month.
Month too. I thought it was
I
this
thought that was
month.
okay.
Well, you know
Okay.
what? I forgot. So that's Alzheimer's.
Wait.
It had to be her, Coach. I promise it had to be her. Item number 2, community news and reports. city, school district, Port of Beaumont, county, state, and federal government reports and communications. Of course, we have a Vader presentation as well this evening. So let's see how we're gonna do this. Any city representatives? Awesome. I see you back there. Any school district representatives?
Yes, sir. We'll let the police department go first.
They got their own space.
Okay.
Your turn, coach. He tried to get away. He tried to get away, Chief. You got the floor.
See you there.
Yes, sir. It's gonna rotate and pick you up.
Pretty neat gadget. All right, my name is Brandon Basinger. I'm with Beaumont ISD, currently Assistant Director of Human Resources, but I've been with the district for 20 years. Many know me as Coach Bay, Mr. Bay, depending on if you had me in class or on the field. I've been in Beaumont for, I don't want to give away my age, we'll just say a good bit over 40 years. What we're talking about now is going to be on the ballot November 5th. It's called the Vader because that stands for Voter Approved Tax Rate Election. I don't like to call it that because if you're as old as me, that makes you think of Darth Vader. It's going to be called Proposition 4 on the ballot. So it won't be called this on the ballot. It's going to be Prop 4. Should be at the end of the ballot. The reason this is on the ballot this year, and it's important for people to know this, the state has not increased school funding or changed the way school funding is done since 2019. That's 5 years since the last time they changed the way school funding is done. Over the past 4 years, the things that we've had to do based on no increase in funding is we've been severely limited in employee pay increases we could give to attract educators to our area. We've had to decrease department budgets each year, reduce teacher positions in relation to student enrollment, and we've even had to eliminate full-time positions through attrition. That means not letting anybody go, but if positions aren't filled, then we end up having to cut them in order to make budget. And you may ask, why are we having to do this? Just because funding isn't increasing. Well, over 5 years, just like we do with our pocketbooks or small business owners, entrepreneurs, I know a lot of people have side gigs nowadays. You understand that any organization has a budget just like we do at home. In the same way inflation hits us, it hits your business, it hits your organization, it hits your school district. Because you got to think all these buses, that fuel we have to buy, the property insurance on the various properties the district owns, all of those have been going up. But if you're in a small business and your operation costs go up, but you say you have price control and you can't increase your prices to offset that, you got problems. Well, our income has not been able to increase because school funding hasn't changed in 5 years. So we've got all these inflation going up in these different areas. We have to make room for it in the budget. So these are our only choices. And then we also have to try and increase salaries to stay competitive and make sure we have the educators we need for our kids. So we end up further cutting department budgets and positions in order to be able to do that. On August 15th, 2024, Beaumont ISD Board of Trustees voted to call for voter approval tax rate election for the Vader. We held on November 5th, 2020. Maybe one or two other things on that ballot I'm sure you're familiar with. We're not going to talk about those. This is a list of all the districts that passed the same thing last year. There are even more that passed it the previous year and even more having to do it this year because every district in the state of Texas is facing this problem. And you'll see names on here that may even surprise you. You've got districts like Pflugerville, Round Rock, districts that people know are pretty well off districts, but they're facing the same problem we are. And I want to explain how and why that is. We'll come back to it. This is the way districts are funded right here. This M&O bucket is the portion of funding that the district can spend on daily operations. That's things like salaries, student supplies, utilities, maintenance, custodial. Then there's a portion of the income that's split into what's called INS, that's interest and sinking. That can only be used to pay towards debt, like the bond issue that we got back in the day to build the new elementary schools. It can't be used for anything else. Now that comes solely from property taxes. Now the maintenance and operations, the things that we can use to actually run the district and pay the employees, that gets split. Some of it comes from property taxes, some of it comes from the state. Now, a lot of questions I've had from people is, but my property taxes have gone up, so what's the district doing with all the extra money? It's a really good question. There is no extra money. I've lived in my house for 20 years, so I know where y'all are coming from. Let me explain why that is. If property values go up and property taxes go up and the amount of money going into the maintenance and operation bucket goes up, the state pulls back how much they contribute so that it stays the same amount. That's why state funding hasn't changed in 5 years. And that's why these other districts that you think are better off than we are in the exact same boat. Because as their tax money goes in, the state pulls money back. Okay, so everybody's facing this. And all those districts you saw have figured out that, man, we've been waiting for the state to change funding for 5 years. We're running out of ways to cut in order to make ends meet. We need to do something different. And that's what this Vader is. And let me explain what that is. Well, the three main focuses for us is what it's going to do is we're going to shift some of the money that comes from property taxes that goes into this bucket that can only be used for interest and sinking over into this maintenance and operations bucket so that we can use it to run the district, improve salaries, things like that. The reason we're able to do that, and that will not change how we're paying off the bond. We're still going to be paying off the bond early, but we've been paying off the bond early so well over the last several years. We have a pretty unique opportunity here to be able to shift some of that money over here to where it can be used for facilities, supplies, salaries. And this is a pretty good opportunity. And shifting that money will not hurt our ability to pay those bonds off on time. And that's a really good thing. And people ask, and just shifting 9 cents from that interest bucket over to operations bucket will give the district, I don't even like saying generate an additional, it will give us access to 13 million more dollars. It was being generated. It was just going into a bucket that could only be used for interest. Now it's going to be over here where it can be used to do things like pay the utilities, pay the bills, increase salaries so that we can keep our solid educators and recruit more to us. All right. Now, the three main focuses, because a lot of people ask me in the community when they see me, is what are y'all going to use this money for? Everybody wants to know that. I want to know that when my tax dollars are going. The three main focuses: upgrading security, implementing and upgrading safety and security measures, ensuring that our schools remain safe places for all students and staff, increasing compensation, increase pay for employees to ensure we retain and recruit high quality staff, to maintain and improve high standards of expectations of our community, and program continuation, maintain and enhance the delivery of essential programs and personnel that students rely on daily. And I'll get a little more specific on what kind of programs those are here in a little bit. So as you can see, this goes back to, we're just wanting to shift existing money out of the interest bucket over to the operations bucket so it can be used for those things. All right. And it will not increase the tax rate. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Last year, the tax rate from the schools portion of the tax rate was 96 cents. Was it 96 or 98? 98. I'm sorry. Thank you. With this proposal, it will be 96. So your tax rate will actually go down 2 cents. But because we're shifting what that money can be used for, there's $15 million more to be able to increase salaries and up the security measures at the school, etc. Real quick, I want to talk about, well, do we have a slide about the security specifically? I can't remember. No, we don't. So I want to talk about that. State government likes to do something called unfunded mandates. That's when they tell you have to do something, but they don't give you enough money to do it until you figure it out. One of the things they did was say every campus should have armed security personnel. That's great. That's outstanding. We all want our kids to be safe, but they gave us $15,000 per campus to do it. Now, a brand new police officer right out of the academy with salary and insurance and benefits and everything that goes into hiring a person costs about $70,000. That's just for the armed person on the campus. And they've only given us 15. So we've got to find somewhere else to come up with that. And that's one of the things that this will allow to do. It'll also be there for any other security upgrades we see that are necessary that we can work on. And you'll notice we've been working on that for a few years. We've got the security vestibules in most campuses now. We've increased fencing, cameras, upgrading cameras, et cetera. But we want to be able to continue to do that because there is nothing more important and more sacred than keeping the kids safe when they come to school. That should be the safest place in the world for them. So that's the safety and security aspect. Talking about the tax rate and debt payments and why we're able to do this without hurting our position and paying off bonds. Beaumont has just under 195 million outstanding debt from the bond that was approved in 2008. Now, in 2008, when that started, the total bond was
It was over 400 million. When I started
Yes.
9 years ago, there was still over 380 million to pay.
Thank you. So it was over 400 million all told to start with. We're down to 195, and that's because the district has been putting extra money in that in order to pay it off early to save taxpayer dollars in interest that was accruing on those. Okay. Beaumont ISD the fees, I don't like these finance terms. I'm just an old history teacher and coach. That means pay off early. Approximately 5 million in debt. The district will still be able to make scheduled debt payments of approximately $21 million, even with that money being shifted out of interest into operations. This shows the property tax rate for the school district going back to 18. You'll notice that in 2018, it was $1.29. We've gotten down now to where it's 98 cents. And with this proposal, it'll go down to 96 cents. And in this, you see the blue, which is what can be used for operations, and the red that can only be used for interest. And the reason this is up here is to show that even though it's been going down steadily, and that's great, as a taxpayer, I sure appreciate it. Now, when we get here, the reason it's still going to go down 2 cents, but we're going to be able to spend more on what we need for the district is because the blue's going up, but the red's going down. So I want to make sure everybody sees that. The overall tax rate still goes down 2 cents. All right, how does this impact property values? And this is important. We're not saying your property taxes, we can't say that because we can't control that. Your property taxes are based on your tax rate against your property value. Property value is set by the Jefferson Central Appraisal District. We have no affiliation with them. We as individuals, I'm sure you all got the same letter I did that said, congratulations, your house is worth way more than you thought it was. And now you got to pay higher taxes. Well, then you go appeal that on an individual basis and try to make them see the light because they sure think my house is worth a lot more than I do. So if your property value goes up, even though the rate goes down, your taxes may still go up. But if your property value stays the same, your overall taxes will go down. And even if it does go up, then it'll go up less than it would before at 98 cents instead of 96. So we're doing only what we can control, which is the rate. We unfortunately can't do anything about the property value appraisals. And we just covered all that. So what does this mean? Basically, same thing I just said. If your value appraisal goes up, even with the rate going down, you could still end up paying more in taxes. But again, that's related to the valuation of your property. And that's something you need to take up with Jefferson Central Appraisal District, appeal when you get it and things like that. I've had several neighbors that were successful in that. I missed the deadline. So, yeah. What if I'm not a homeowner? Can you still vote? Absolutely. That's one thing I want to make sure everybody knows. If you're not a homeowner, you still vote. You have children in the district. These are still your kids being affected. So you can vote on this. Even if you are not a homeowner and you do not have children in the district, you are impacted by the children in this district. I don't ever want to hear anybody say, I don't have kids in the district. Yeah, you do. If you're a business owner, you employ the kids that come from this district.
Absolutely.
If you're out there in the community, you're running into or serving in your business, you're interacting with the kids that go to this district. Every kid in this city is your kid. So I don't like hearing anybody say, I don't even have kids in the district. You sure do, brother, if you live in Beaumont. Don't give me that. So voters will decide. It's gonna be on there as Proposition 4. And if you vote for it, this is what you're saying. Overall tax rates go down to 96. You'll get an additional 13 million to the district to use for operations and salaries to get people we need in here and to pay the hardworking people that we've got. Just to give a little perspective on this, this isn't just the teachers, this is all the employees. Let's take bus drivers, for example. A lot of people don't realize this. It's getting harder and harder and harder to find bus drivers because a couple of years ago, the requirements to be a bus driver changed to where they had to have a full CDL. And now remember the area that we live in and what our competition is. We've got refineries all around us that they also need truck drivers, and they got a lot more money to throw at them than we do. So we'll have people come into the district. We're training them to get their CDL, and then they're getting poached by the plants. So we have to be able to offer competitive salary because they now have a skill set and a license that demands a higher salary. So we're having trouble keeping them in there. And that's one of the things that we're having to combat. We've got to be able to compete with the market in salaries for these jobs. Also, things like our custodians. We've got a huge service industry around us, lots of hotels, et cetera. They're always willing to take all of these auxiliary workers that work for us, custodians, food service, transportation, public safety officers, et cetera. These are all essential to the district operating the way it needs to. And they're all included in the salary increases that would be given to this so that we can retain the high quality personnel we've got. Continue to enhance programs and enhance security measures. We covered that, and improve district facilities. It gives money in the maintenance and operations to be able to fix things like when Beryl came through and knocked down a light pole at Vincent and caused hundreds of thousands of dollars of unexpected damage a week before school started, and they got out there and got that thing ready on time. But that's expenses for building materials, et cetera, that were not expected. So it gives us the ability to be able to address those things. Now, I'm not telling you how to vote. You can vote against. What's it gonna mean if you vote against? Your overall tax rate will still go down, and I'm gonna be transparent here. It'll actually go down more. It'll go down to 87 cents. And that may sound appealing to you. Let me tell you what else is going on. That's gonna mean the district does not have access to this additional 13 million. And so a lot of people have asked me, what happens to the 13 million? Does it go back into the red bucket so that you can pay interest with it? No, it's just gone. So it's not like we can use that to keep paying down faster. We can't use it at all anymore. And we got to come back next year and ask to have it added back to either the red bucket or the blue bucket. So that's the way that works. So the way it would impact us is we wouldn't be able to give the additional 3% increase to all of our employees that we really do need. We just got a staffing study done to show how far off of market we are, and the majority of our positions are at less than 90% of the market. And as a human resources person, I can tell you, your target is to always stay around 93, 94% of the market at least in order to be able to retain your good employees. Got to get up to around 95% to be able to attract them to us. And so that's one of the things that's going to happen. Staffing levels will have to be reduced. We're not going to let anybody go. That's always a last resort. But if the positions are empty and we've got to find ways to keep paying for these things that are going up, we have to close positions and try to figure out how to do more with less, which is what we've always had to struggle with. All right, new instruction opportunities will not be offered. There won't be any money to offer any new programs and new ideas and things like that. It's just not there. We'll have to wait for Austin to figure things out and fix the way schools are funded. Limited safety and security upgrades. Now, we're still gonna have to find a way to have the armed security at each campus.
Because that's a state requirement.
Absolutely. We're just gonna have to cut from a whole lot of other places in order to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, last 5, 6 years, I've been in there watching and participating and trying to figure out where we can cut, because we have still been given raises. But to do that, we've had to cut to have the money to do that. And guys, you can only cut a pie so many ways till you run out. And we're just about at that point. Limited safety and security upgrades budget will be amended to a deficit of $4 million. Now, what that means is the district in order to be able to keep the employees we've got, we went ahead and gave a 2% increase across the board this year because it had to be done. We're too far below market. Now, and that was in the hopes that the state would either fix things or that we can get this passed and then be able to give an additional 3% on top of it. If it doesn't pass, we've got a $4 million deficit on the budget. And then the board's gonna have to decide, are we gonna pass a deficit budget? Or are they gonna make us go cut $4 million from what's there? And I can't tell you how they're gonna finally vote, but from talking to the individual board members, they have directed they do not want to pass a deficit budget. And there are school districts all across the state that are having to do that. They have no choice. We have a choice here in our community with this vote election. But you can vote for or you can vote against. If you vote against, yeah, your overall property taxes will go down a little more. But that's the consequences of that. Okay. A lot of people are saying, well, how much of it's going to be spent on what? This is just breaking it down. Over half of that money is going to be spent towards increasing compensation for our employees because that's where we need it the most. The next biggest thing on there is program continuation. And a question I get all the time is what kind of programs? You need to know that. During COVID, after COVID, federal government infused a lot of funds into schools through what was called ESSER grants. And it was to address the gaps and needs of students that had been basically on lockdown and had no social interaction for 2 years. These funds gave us the opportunity to try programs that we as educators have always known our kids needed, but never had the ability to do. For instance, we created wellness coordinators, which is like having a social worker on every campus. So when these kids are going through crises at home or emotional disturbance crises, a little bit off topic. I talked to a principal the other day. She said she's already had 2 students brought to her this year with suicidal ideations. She's already had 5 students identified to her that were cutting themselves. Our kids today have more social issues to deal with than we ever did, y'all. When we got bullied at school, we got a break when we went home. Social media doesn't give them a break anymore. And if you don't believe that takes a toll on a young mind, a little out of touch. Think about what it would have been like for you if you never had a break. These wellness coordinators have been amazing and had an amazing impact since we were able to do that. Well, those funds from the federal government are gone. I guess they think everybody's magically cured from whatever happened during COVID. They're not there anymore. We would like to be able to keep programs like this and without having to cut from other places. These funds will allow that. Other things like behavioral interventionists. You know, you were in school, your APs and your principals, they have to be reactive. They're there to enforce the rules and enforce punishments when a rule is broken. Behavior interventionist is different. They're there to treat the root causes of discipline, to teach conflict resolution, things like that. That's just 2 of the programs that we were able to add with those federal funds and see the value of and realize we need. And if the Vader is not passed, then we'll have to figure out if there's another way we can keep them in other areas we can cut. And that's you take from one, you take from something else in order to get something else. The kids are missing out on something they need either way. But a lot of people ask me, you can't just say programs. What kind of programs? Well, that gives you some idea. That's just a couple of them. All right, so the next biggest thing is the facilities improvements and then security enhancements. That's 1.5% of all of this. And that's because we did get some money from the state to help. All right, now program list, like we just talked, behavior intervention, social service for students. There's also targeted math support because we know that's one of the areas that our kids need the most help catching up on. It's not listed here, but we also have targeted reading and English support as well. Support for bilingual students. You noticed our bilingual population is rapidly growing. I went to the multicultural night at Caldwell the other night and it was absolutely incredible. These kids that are coming to us though with very limited English, they need additional services. So we need to grow with the population and the need of the population. And that's one of the programs and there are others. That's approximately $4 million. So what does the ballot look like? It looks crazy as anything that's written by a government entity does. So we want to explain this. We do not have control over the wording or I would have gotten in there and said, get all these huge words out of here and let's make it make sense.
Correct. Make it make sense, Carl.
But we can't do that. So the way it's going to read is ratifying the ad valorem, which I don't even know what that means, and I'm pretty smart. tax rate of 96 cents per $100 valuation in Beaumont Independent School District for the current year, a rate that will result in an increase of 14.3% in maintenance and operations tax revenue for the district to give $13 million. And then it's there in Spanish. So it makes it look like to your average voter that hasn't been educated, and that's why we're getting out here to explain these things, that they're voting for their tax rate to go up 14%. But we just showed you. Overall, it's going down by 2% because the red portion's going down. They're not going to tell you that because that doesn't have to be brought to an election to take a portion down. They're only showing you the portion that's going up. That's why we're trying to get out and explain to everybody. It's going up, but the other one's going down, so the overall is still down. All right, so what does that mean? Well, we just explained that. 14.3%, that's because blue's going up, but red's going down, but they're not going to say that on the ballot. Beaumont ISD is fiscally responsible. I want to make sure I point this out. I hear a lot of time people disparaging the district and its use of money, and it's a lot of times it's people parroting things that they've heard for the last 10 years. Guys, remember, it's been over 10 years since this stuff happened. I want to point out what our business and finance office has done in the last 10 years. When all the crises of the past happened, there was no fund balance. Fund balance is, they call it rainy day fund in some districts. That's the pool of money that you're legally required to have on hand to operate the district for, is it 3 or 6 months? 3 months. If catastrophe strikes, you gotta be able to cover salaries, facilities, everything for at least 3 months. That's your fund balance. It was almost gone, guys. It is back up to being healthy again.
It was gone.
It was, well, yeah, it was
gone.
completely gone. And we brought in Cheryl Hernandez, who she and I struggled quite a bit because I'm human resources. She holds purse strings. I have to say what we need. She says what we can afford. So we go back and forth, back and forth. But I got to give it to her. She's been incredible. It's because of her and the staff that she brought on that we are now in a situation where we have more than what we're required to have in our fund balance once again. And BISD is safe because of that. And that's an incredible achievement that not a lot of people understand. We've also had 8 consecutive years of clean audits. I hear people giving misinformation about this. We don't do the audits, y'all. The audits come from third-party outside entities or the state at times, and they dig through everything. You gotta think, if you have a district that had financial issues in the past, they're gonna look hard to make sure everything's going good. And in 8 years in a row, it's been clean. That's outstanding. 6 years in a row, they've gotten a superior first rating. Now, I can't remember what first stands for, but that's like their version of the STAR test. This is a state rating. Tell me what first stands for.
Financial Integrity Rating System.
Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Now, I've been teaching for 20-something years, and I can be the first to tell you, we have way too many acronyms. But that's what that means. It's like the business office's STAR test. And superior is the highest rating you can get. They've gotten it 6 years in a row because they're doing a good job with the limited funds we have. So I want y'all to understand, you can have confidence in that we have now and what they're doing. Our bond credit rating has gone up because of how well they've been paying things off. Now, that's just saying if we were to need another bond eventually, our credit rating, which means we'll have lower interest whenever it comes time to maybe rebuild some of these secondary schools that are older than I am, and I ain't at spring chicken anymore. Vader efficiency audits. Anytime any district brings a measure like this forward, they have to get another third party to come in and do an efficiency audit, which says, how well are you doing utilizing the funds that you have now? We've already had that done. It was presented to the board. One of the findings was there was no negative findings as far as how we're using our money. But one of the findings was that we're not able to keep up with market on our salaries. And it's because we're out of money and there's not much more we can cut. So that's important to know. And remember, election day is Tuesday, November 5th, when you'll be in there for other reasons. Last page of the ballot, don't just hit the first few pages and jet out. Go all the way to the end, okay? Whatever decision you choose, because as I'm standing here as a district rep, I can't tell you which way to vote. I can only lay out facts. So I just laid out facts. Whichever way you're gonna vote, please go vote. Last day to register was yesterday. I'm hoping everybody's registered. I know this was a high profile year and there are probably more people registered than ever. So when you get out there, pay attention to that last thing on the ballot, that's Prop 4. And now I'm taking my BISD badge off. So I'm not here as a district representative. I'm here as Bay that's been around here forever that just happens to know a little bit about these things. So if anybody has any questions, I don't know if they can type them to you on there. I'm gonna stick around to the end of this meeting to address questions. You can also reach out to me on Facebook personal. That's my private account, Brandon Basinger. I'll accept random friend requests for the next few days, which I don't normally do. So if you got questions, you can ask me there and I will be candid with you and answer any question I can. If I don't know the answer, I know how to find the people that do. Yeah, if you have any questions, anybody here right now? Yes, sir, Mr. Roy.
What's the overall budget of the ISD? Total.
170 million. Well, this one, 177
That- that-
million.
For the people watching online, the question for Mr. Roy was, what's the overall budget of the district? It's about 177 million right now. Do you know offhand? I know I'm putting y'all on the spot. These are two of our amazing finance office people right here. Do you know offhand the percentage of that that's spent on salaries, roughly?
80, about 80 is what we're
80,
at right now,
so.
which is low compared to other districts.
Yeah, and you gotta think about, there are things like transportation costs, et cetera, which we're also looking at decreasing, and that's what one of the main focuses of the rezoning process is. You got questions about that? Hit me up on Facebook. I happen to be on that committee too, so I know quite a bit about it. So anything y'all have questions about, I'm always around to answer. Those good
Yeah,
questions?
do y'all think the state knows how many problems this is causing with kids?
Yes, sir, I do, unfortunately. Well, you're asking me now, because I'm not the ISD. Yes, sir, unfortunately, I do think they know. And the thing is, you can go to the governor's website right now, and you can see that the Texas state economy is ranked higher than all but 4 countries in the world. And there is a $32 billion surplus sitting up there.
And that's why I was wondering, like,
32 billion that they're holding. That's surplus means extra.
oh, yeah.
We can't afford extra. I was just fooling around on my computer the other day because I got a curious mind. And I said, what if they took half of that and divided it up between there's about 1,400 school districts in Texas. Don't quote me on that because it's way more specific than that, but I'm giving you a nice round number. And if they divided half of that surplus between the 1,400 districts across Texas, each district would get $10 million to be able to satisfy and service their kids. Now, that wouldn't be a smart way to divvy it up because you got a district with 100 kids over in a small rural town and you got Houston. The smart way to do it would be by per pupil, but they don't even think that smart. Right now, they're using an old antiquated method of funding based on students. It's not based on how many kids you enroll.
Right.
It's based on their average daily attendance. So if your attendance goes down, you still got the kids. Your funding goes down. And they want you to do things like offer programs that are needed to get the attendance back up. But they just took away part of your money.
Correct.
So how are you supposed to do that? Don't get me started on government. We got 2 parties up there with different agendas and different ideas, some good on both sides. And when they try to come together on something, every law that's passed has riders and things that each side wants. And if there's something in there that the other side doesn't want enough, they'll vote the whole thing down. Has happened last year. There was a proposition up there in Austin to increase funding for schools, but they attached vouchers to it.
Mm-hmm.
If they hadn't attached that and they said, you want this, fine, you gotta give us vouchers. Those kind of Austin politics games, which I understand they have to play, they're representing us as well. But I don't agree with putting an essential need for the citizens and children of Texas and attaching it to something that they're gonna have to battle about.
Right.
And that's Brandon Basinger, individual, not speaking on behalf of Beaumont ISD, please, no board members. This is my opinion, being an old educator. There's a time and place for everything.
Mhm.
Time and place for battling each other over things you want is not when it's attached to things we all need.
I honestly don't think they think about the kids.
Do
That's
you
just
think
my
any,
opinion.
I'll just be honest, and I may get slaughtered for saying this out in private, but you think any of their children are in public school? Exactly. So it's up to us to go find our representatives and put it in their mind. As citizens, we have to. These are the people that we send up there to fight those battles. And we need to tell them, this is a need. I need you to go fight for. This is why I'm sending you. Don't allow it to be attached to anything you know is going to cause battle.
Mm-hmm.
Get it through and y'all battle on the other stuff later. We've got to put that in their mind so that they go up there and fight for us the right way. Ooh, let me get off my soapbox. Great questions, Mr. Roy. I always like it when you're around. Any other questions?
I do not have any online or on our Facebook.
Okay, wonderful. Well, then I'll stop talking to you. I do like the sound of my own voice, so it makes me sad, but I'll go ahead and hand it over to someone else. We do appreciate y'all having us. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Absolutely.
And again, I'll stay around to the end in case anybody has any questions they want to send you.
Absolutely. Awesome, awesome. And with that being said, I definitely would like to encourage our neighbors to please go vote. Make sure that you go vote. Make sure that you go vote. And make sure that you go vote. Especially if you're going to participate in a straight party ticket, please do not forget that there is that proposition on the ballot. It does not say Vader.
Proposition 4.
But that Proposition 4 is on the ballot. So again, regardless to what party you vote, straight ticket or however, make sure that you pay attention to the proposition for BISD as well. And that was it. So that was School Board, Port of Beaumont, County, State, and Federal Governments, Reports and Communications. Beaumont Police Active Calls for Services, Reports and Communications, and you all have the floor. Yep, yes, ma'am. I don't think they can see you though.
For the stats for the last month, we had a total of 99 calls for service just in this little area. That doesn't include the South End officers that cover all the different needs. So just for this area, you had 9 burglary alarm calls, 2 panic alarms, 5 animal related calls, 2 assaults. They were both family violence related. Officers were called to assist other agencies. That was like the fire department and MS, things like that. Auto burglaries, you had 2 auto burglaries. Both were unsecured vehicles. One of them had a gun in it. We've discussed this over and over, the problem with that. One of them had credit cards, Twit card, money, things like that in it. So both vehicles were not secured. 5 case follow-ups, 6 welfare checks, 7 civil standbys, 2 trespass warnings issued, 1 deadly conduct call, where shots were fired. They actually struck the house, went through the door in one of them. Gray car was a suspect vehicle, but they didn't have any other information besides that. You had a deceased infant. Remind people, do not sleep with your infant children. No matter what your intentions are, I know that's horrific, but until you've been on those calls, those are nightmares. Don't sleep with your infant children. Disturbances, you had 8 disturbances. 1 call with a mental subject that ended up having to have emergency detention. 5 repo calls, a suspicious person call. You had a theft where it was the juvenile daughter that was stealing credit card information. Reminder, just keep checking your accounts. Know that it's not always the person breaking into your house. Oftentimes it is family members, friends, significant others that you're seeing that have access to your checking account information. Doesn't take much for them to dig through your information and get what they need during desperate times. We had 9 traffic related crashes. We had 6 traffic stops and 1 traffic problem. During those traffic stops, we had some warrant arrests and some narcotics located. That's the majority of the calls. Any questions?
I do not see any online either. But I will also, reiterate, please, take your guns with you. This is Texas.
Those lock boxes cost maybe $20. You can go to Harbor Freight or a lot of places to pick up a little $20. They've got a cable to them. They'll secure to, they'll secure to under your seat somewhere. Just put them in a box if you've got it. Have them with you at least you know, lock them in something that you know someone's not gonna be able to take their weapon out of.
And I know for, the American Legion normally, and our Beaumont Police Department normally has those lock cables as well. If you need or want one, please, let us know and we'll get that to you.
They get a safety watch.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
have children in your home or you're having to figure out people in the house, illness issues, we do give those out for free, gun locks.
Awesome, awesome. Any other questions? Concerns? Thank you so much. Our business, I'm sorry, business neighbors reports and communications. I see quite a few neighbors in here, but it's not many businesses in here. So Matt, I think you have the floor. Unless Chief, you had something that. Yes, sir. Matt, you have the floor.
Thank you for having us here at this meeting today. Chris, just wanted to come out and let the community know that over the next couple of months, we'll be rolling out some additional information regarding STAN, emergency response. And a lot of this is the result of the shelter in place that we went through, the community went through last month in September 10th. So we'll be going through the neighborhood, sharing information, getting people signed up for STAN, helping to clarify some of the confusion and confusing messages that were coming out during that time, which we absolutely apologize for, and staying in close contact with Chris and others throughout the community to help get that message out. So you'll be hearing more from us over the coming weeks, over the coming months, and perhaps, Chris, if you're able to invite us back to do a presentation on some of that, we would be more than happy to do so.
Absolutely, absolutely. Special workshop is definitely accessible to you all as well.
Thank you.
And you all as well, Coach. If you want to communicate this again, please feel free to reach out. Because we reached out to the district and let them know that they have access to us as well. Absolutely, absolutely. Any questions to Matt? That I see none, Matt. I see none. So we'll move to our education, neighbors, reports and communications. Not y'all. I was about to say, no, I ain't gonna do y'all that again. But we do have quite a few educational neighbors within our area. Most of what they've communicated is in our agenda, with the exception of Peach MacArthur. I will say that I got a question, that's why I stopped. No, Ms. Dominisha Haskins, you do not have to wait for anyone to speak to you to sign up with the STAN. You are more than welcome to sign up with STAN at any time. You as a person and or you as an entity, business, a partner in the area. Am I right, Chief? STAN, that's right, I got a yes. So feel free to sign up with STAN as a person and as a business. This is Dominisha Haskins with the Southeast Texas Family Resource Center down the street. Did you have anything that you want to communicate to the association, Ms. Haskins? She says she definitely wants to sign the center up to receive the STAN. Awesome, awesome. Community and faith-based neighbors reports and communication. We call it church announcements. Also an opportunity for us to introduce any candidates that are in the room, any candidates seeking election. I was about to say. Any candidate seeking election, if you want to, again, be able to speak to our community, you definitely have that opportunity. Again, if you are a candidate we will reach out to your opponent so that it is non-biased and fair. But Ms. Haskins also wanted to communicate that the center is just about done with the generator. So there'll be that'll be accessible to us, Mr. Yeah, that'll be accessible to us, Mr. Archie, as a cooling station and different things like that whenever we have blackouts in the area. Community, again, I do want to, as far as like our faith-based neighbors, I do want to congratulate the Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church for their annual completion of their annual bazaar festival that was hosted on this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I went on Sunday and got fat full and walked back home because it's right in the area. Walked right back home and went to the nap. Now, for most people, a nap is probably like 30 minutes to an hour. I didn't wake up until like 11 o'clock that night. It was the fried chicken and beans. I'm telling you, it'll do it every time. But again, congratulations to Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church on their annual bazaar. The South End Committee's reports and communications bank statement is available for review. Again, we definitely want individuals to get out the vote. Monday was the last day to register and or update your voters registration. Now is the time to really become familiar with who you're voting for and for what proposed legislation aligns with your local needs and resources. There are many proposed policies on the ballot that are and will affect us in one way or the other if we do not show up to the polls with knowledge in numbers and for action. The association has teamed up with several civic organizations and many individuals to assist us in adding and aiding many of us to the polls. Keep watch on our Facebook profile and page for more information and engagements we will be taking part in and covering our entire area. Know many of you may know that a few Sundays from now, we will be participating in Pew to the Polls. This past week, we had Meet the Candidates. Operation One Vote had their event. Yeah, so we're definitely participating in every aspect to get the vote out in our community and in our family. This is a family affair. This is one of the best opportunities to show those individuals who do not or cannot vote the process. So make this a family affair, engage with your families, and I'm sure that they will enjoy not only you taking into that process, but doing it in their favor. The association attended the breakfast with the superintendent of BISD. We were well informed about factual information, voter approved tax rate election, which we also just received a presentation. We also got information on the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. campus's future. As a nonprofit organization, we cannot ask you to vote for or against the transfer of funds, but we can make it as simple for all of us to understand, to make up our mind as local voters in within this service area. So again, as a nonprofit organization, we cannot, but I'm gonna take off my glasses and my hat, and I, as an individual and past educator, I will ask my community to please vote for this. I'm not the president or director of the association. I'm only speaking as Christopher Jones, as a past educator, volunteer in public schools, ROTC instructor. We need this money. So that's my expressions to my neighbors throughout the entire city of Beaumont. Now I'll put my hat back on and my glasses back on and resume my position as president director of the association. So there you have it with that information. The association communicated a public statement to our community at large and a specific letter to our city, county, and industrial neighbors about the stand message and call that went out last month. The communication is available for your review and or request. Please feel free to reach out to the association via email at Charlton-Pollard, GHCA@yahoo.com. Any questions? Good. The association is approaching the implementation and recruitment of our initial adult and youth engagement exposure committee auxiliary program to be offered to our neighbors and greater community. The South End Charlton-Pollard Legatees basketball program is in, there you go, coach. I got you. Hook, line, and sinker. I got a volunteer application on your table. Oh, man. We require that all participants must enroll as an ambassador of the association and agree to our bylaws and code of ethics as well as waivers. Our neighbors and growing support groups are excited to roll out this initiative to create something the community advocates for often, something to do, and we're positioned to offer it. Any questions? Awesome. The association is still in talks with our neighbors, engaged in the exploratory scenario planning and air and health disparities, conversations, and data study. If you would like to engage with us and other neighbors while continuing these efforts, please send us an email to, again, South End Charlton-Pollard, GHCA@yahoo.com for more information and to attend our email contacts or be added to our email contacts. If you have provided an email and have not seen it, please check your spam because we've sent it. Any questions? Awesome. Old business. As the association and Creative 2260 complete the process of revamping our logo and communicating the specific features with collaborative efforts of the website designers and developers at Firespring, we are just as excited and can hardly wait to reveal our finished design and website. Yes, indeed. I'm sick of cutting trees down, y'all. I know most people, old people, coach, like to read by paper.
I feel attacked. I actually do.
So when we was at the meeting, the North End meeting that I think I heard you say that I like to read paper. Oh my, so we're excited about that. We are eager and excited to incorporate our motto, lineage, legacy, learning, life into our overall makeup of the association. If we need to make any necessary edits and amendments, we will be presenting that at our next meeting for your consideration. Any questions? Awesome. The association is pleased to be invited, and this is the school information, most of it rather. The association is pleased to be invited to participate in the annual trunk or treat hosted by the Charlton-Pollard Elementary School, Go Bulldogs, on October 29th from 5 to 7. We will have a representative present and hope to scare you soon. I like that. I like it. Any questions? Anybody want to help? Participate? Reach out to the Charlton-Pollard Elementary School principal, and she'll definitely direct you. I also have some information about that I can give you as well. Yes, sir, Mr. Arch. What time? 5 to 7. From 5 to 7. Any other questions? Awesome. Hold on, wait. I got a statement.
Anything about the communication with our football line?
What about it?
They're gonna start closing the streets tomorrow. You know, like communication or what?
Other than what we posted on our paper, we can't verbalize something that wasn't communicated to us, Mr. Archer. Yes, sir. This ours, this our man.
Goodness.
We've already, Mr. Archer.
I'm ready.
Yeah, but I did post that information from the port because I received it via our email. But I posted it on our social media page. They have access to our meetings just as well as everybody else, Ms. March.
I didn't know, you know, we had people in the neighborhood had different routes, where they gonna reroute.
Right.
the street.
And that's outside of the Buford surroundings, and the Carroll Street surroundings, so Buford and Carroll will still be accessible. The only streets that will be closing is the far east side of Kniff and the far east side, I wanna say of Stewart. I got that information, Mr. Archer.
Yeah, from what I gather, you know, that it's gonna be starch. Well, I've seen all the equipment out there today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do the trees and demolition on the churches and the houses that they purchased.
Yes, sir.
They said they had about, at least about, what, 32 acres they want to get?
Yes, sir. They getting it. So, this,
And domain, they working on one of them.
yes, sir, eminent domain will be,
Already started.
so that is Lamar Street from from Port Street and Lamar and Port Street to Stewart. All the way back to, you might as well say Carroll. Those are the, two streets that will be closing east to westbound. The,
What they do, buy all that property?
the Leaper Street at Powell, you might as well say. Leaper at Powell and Verone to Shawana.
But they caught me invited, come to the meeting all the time, right?
Yeah, well, normally they do. I haven't seen them since we raised the stink about having, environmental, impact study on what they're proposed to receive federal monies about.
Used to come.
We still communicate, but I don't think they want the pressure from the neighbors about what the lack of communication with their impact study. And that's one of the reasons why their money is being held off, from the federal government, because they didn't do an impact study on the community that they're impacting.
That's a big impact.
Correct. And so, yeah,
But they got legal balance with the people in the community right now.
I know they do have, as far as the neighbors that sold and the city, Beaumont abandonments, which is streets.
Right.
That's good, they can, that's all in writing, that's it, but they cannot move forward with what they propose to do as the dry dock and all that. They can't move forward with that until they come back to us as a community and say, hey, environmental justice community,
Right,
this is your impact study. This is your environmental impact study.
okay.
And ever since we initially had that discussion, the representatives, and I'm saying it, the representatives
Okay.
of the port, the public representatives of the port have not been to our meeting.
Right,
But again, we still communicate.
okay.
The doors of communication is still open. I just, like I said, if I push you down and I gave you a road rash, don't spit on me. And I think that's what happened. It got a little hectic for some representatives.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, I didn't want, I was just trying to find out what.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I'm gonna keep you straight, Mr. Archer. You know, I'm gonna keep you straight. But on, like you said, on yesterday, October 7th, the city roads marked in gray will remain unaffected and open for regular use. Again, these are the streets that we named. That's Leaper, after, after Powell Street. That is also Verone, before Lamar Street. Lamar Street all the way to Carroll. I'm sorry. Lamar Street all the way to Herring, you might as well say. And Stewart Street all the way to Herring.
Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
some of the lighting is gone because they're taking all the poles
Correct.
out.
And that's gonna be,
That's back on the community.
Right.
In the neighborhood.
so that's a heat pad. That's one of the impacts that we was talking about that they needed to do in order to get the monies. They probably can do it out of their pocket, but you're not gonna be able to do it off no federal grant money.
That's, one of the parts of, lighting out there. It's out, they didn't taking all.
I don't know if they're gonna replace it, because if you know where their lay down yards is at the corner of Carroll and Buford, there is no lighting. There is like remote lighting, like, like that light that you can move around.
Right.
On, I think it's like some generator or something like that. But other than that, I don't see them.
Then, you got other houses in that neighborhood,
Mm-mm.
that's no lighting.
You got one house on Herring Street.
That, they already sold that.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but they still there.
No. On the dead end,
Mm-mm.
which end?
The through side of Herring, not this side of Herring, this side. I know the church is gone,
Yeah, it's gonna be gone
Yeah.
after tomorrow.
and there was another neighbor that was on Stewart Street. I'm sorry, on Herring Street, right, but like in the middle of it. I know that they were going through the process of selling.
It's around.
Okay. Aside from that, that was it on that. The association is pleased to be invited to participate in the annual flash mob sponsored by the Port of Beaumont at the Charlton-Pollard Elementary Campus on October 31st from 1:45 to 2:45 p.m. We will have a representative on site and hope to have a ghoulish time.
All this from the Port of Beaumont.
This is October 31st at the Charlton-Pollard Elementary School, and this flash mob is hosted by the Port of Beaumont. It's from 1:45 to 2:45 p.m. Come dressed up, Mr. Archie.
No, don't I dress up on church yet?
I do know we have earmarked at least 400 pieces. Please don't come with 400 pieces. If y'all coming, yeah, it's 400 students. Unless you got a king size Kit Kat or something like that. Yeah, but that's what we'll be doing on the 31st and the 29th. Y'all remember that. The association was invited to participate in a community town hall meeting hosted by the Formulating Cheek Community Association. This meeting is on the Rose CCS project proposed in the area for development. We are excited to accept the invite and work with our neighbors in this and their developmental endeavors. They are looking forward to building a new neighborhood association. And yes, that's what the town hall meeting is on, the proposed Rose CCS project. Any questions? The South End Charlton-Pollard Pollinator Garden project is underway, with the initial site being at this American Legion Post 33 site. Planning and agreements are being drafted, including letters to our neighbors at the Port of Beaumont, ExxonMobil, RCI, Eastham Forge, and others in the service area of the association. Any questions?
You said it's gonna be over here.
Yes, sir. On the backside, in the gated area. It's in the gated area.
We're gonna have to follow the garden.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Liberty, all kinds of stuff is what I'm looking forward to having up in there, Mr. Archer. The, I think that was it. For other business. Let me see. Oh, no. Um, new business, all household volunteers that was needed and strategically selected by census tracts to host the air monitors of the community air and health disparities portion of the integrated project is a wrap. We are excited to announce that we have identified the needed individuals willing to host our monitors on their properties. We will be meeting with community researchers soon to update the dates and times for pickup and drop off. Any questions? Awesome. The association is excited to communicate the revival of our Charlton-Pollard Elementary's campus communities PTA. We will be enrolling as individuals and as an organization participating in the newly elected officers and members of as often as we possibly can, encouraging all to do the same. Please, please join our local PTAs. You just do not know how much they need you.
When is the next meeting?
I'm not sure, but I'll definitely be able to get that to you shortly. Yes, sir. The association has acquired and registered our DJI drone and DJI recorder and camera. We are excited to internally capture and record events that will be posted to our website and our digital engagements. Any questions? That's that on the back table, y'all, just in case y'all wanted to know. The drone, on the pool table right in the middle.
Oh, okay.
The drone, the camera that sticks on a tripod, and the audio equipment to do interviews and all good stuff.
I belong to the association.
Yes, sir. Any questions? Awesome. The Lincoln Institute of Land Policy hosted their consortium for scenario planning workshop and provided us with materials that will assist us in compiling all of the processes we have and will be engaging in as we undergo our exploratory scenario planning. We will be sharing this information with all participants, including y'all, as well as seeking someone that is willing to compile and input information, practices, articles, and citing sources used during this process. And it's a particular format that they want us to use, lettering and all of that, but we have all that on hand. So anybody that's willing to volunteer, or if you know somebody that you want to point in that way, including a student, because we do offer community service hours. Oh, any questions? The association. Okay, the association has an opportunity to share your work at the 2025 Consortium for Scenario Planning Conference, January 29th through 31st in Deerfield, Florida, Deerfield Beach, Florida. The deadline for submitting proposals is Thursday, October 15th, 2024. The association would like to participate in that, but after this weekend or this week, we'll see what Florida looks like.
Too scary.
Absolutely.
The touchdown tomorrow, tonight.
Either tomorrow,
I think it's making land
so
on Thursday.
yeah, between tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And then, yeah, and it's still a 5 right now. Scary.
Yes, it is.
Any questions? Awesome, awesome. The association received an email to participate in the CDGB Community Development Block Grant Housing Consolidation Plan Survey. This gave the association the opportunity to express some much needed attention, funds, and funding toward community housing, growth, and security in our service area. Reach out to the City of Beaumont Community Service Manager at 311. Her name is Jess Prince for more information and details. Any questions? Awesome. Item number four, neighbors' concern, issues and resolutions. The trash that was at the upper side of the underpass has been removed, and we appreciate the efforts to get it resolved. Some of the overgrown lots and right-of-ways have been taken care of, and it is appreciated greatly. We are still seeking for stricter regulations and consequences to violators who put grass clippings in the streets and gutters, storm drains, and ditches. Railroad repair is complete on Washington Boulevard crossing and some others as well, especially Corley and,
MLK.
right, MLK, there's another one. Concord, that as you do that Concord, the backside of Concord. That one is done. The Liberty and Laurel Streets are next. So please be patient with, the railroad company. I know, many of our elected officials or, appointed officials say that the railroad is hard to deal with. We got that done, didn't we? We got that done. So it just takes being persistent. And, most people know I have a very loud mouth, very loud mouth. Neighbors are concerned about the idling trains that sit for hours emitting their fuel burn off next to their homes and area. This concern is around the East Lee Street, Fulton Street, and Van Buren dead ends. Any questions about that? We have also communicated that to TCEQ and to the Canadian, because they got a new name, Canadian Kansas City Southern, or Canadian Kansas Southern, something like that. But we've communicated that to them. I want to say it's been 4 months that we've communicated that over and over to KCS. So our next address is TCEQ. After we hear back from our neighbors to see if anything is resolved, I'll definitely keep us updated. Yes, sir, Mr. Archer.
Yeah, on that street back there, Lee Street.
Yes, sir.
I got a little piece of property back there. There's been a lot of dumping back there.
Yes, sir, it has.
But the city's on it, they'll get it up, but.
Right. I saw a few political signs. It was actually school board signs. It was running for school board. It was yellow and black signs. Keep it right there. You'll know, figure it out. Keep it right there. You'll figure it out, coach, I promise. So the yellow and black signs were back there, I seen a while back. And it was a pile of them. And I was like, wow. So you just came to the South End to dump your trash?
Yeah. But, and most of the people in that little area, they know, because if I see somebody coming in the area with a trailer, I'm falling behind them because I got a camera on my.
I appreciate that.
Truck, and I got a camera on my phone.
Correct.
If I see them dumping, I will fill that affidavits out that they did dump trash in the neighborhood,
Absolutely.
And they also dropping dogs off.
Right, I've seen that too. Dogs, I've seen pets as well.
Rolling in the neighborhood.
Right.
Tearing up the
And
garbage.
so I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the things, because I got a phone call about pets, rampant pets. So one of the things that I proposed to the directors of the association was to purchase their own cage instead of renting it from the city of Beaumont.
Right.
And then all we have to do is just call out anytime we have something that's caught in that cage,
We have
and
rules, man.
they will pick it up. So I think
8 o'clock in the neighborhood.
we'll do that.
8 or 9 o'clock, you're gonna see them running in the pack, 3 of them running behind each other. They all following each other.
Yes, sir.
Coon.
Coons.
Not possum, coon. 8 o'clock, you ask people in the neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Ask the Natalie, ask George, ask the Dallas.
Yeah, them is smart. They went to Lamont.
Sometimes, we'll shoo them away, sometimes they'll go in the cold.
Uh-huh.
Get under there.
I've seen them do
They'll
that.
stay there for a while. We'll sit out there, man, about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. In due time, they'll run across that farm.
Uh-huh.
Not rabbits, coons, not possums, coons, man. But they got those too.
Yeah, we've seen the possums. I've actually called several times to get a possum removed out of the road. And I try to call that quick because I don't want to see a possum fuzz a few days later.
When the
because all
wild
the-
dogs hit the trash and the possums coming behind it.
Right. Neighbors are requesting resolve to lodge trucks and or long trailers, 18-wheelers parking in the residential community and streets. Some of the concerns are trailers are not properly marked and or cones placed around it for public safety. Residents are seeking appropriate resolve to a growing issue. You got that, Lieutenant? Thank you, sir.
And we got, the big company out there on our end, man.
Yes.
They'll come.
Martin?
Yeah, they got a door. When they open the door, they tell you which way to route out. Right in the neighborhood. They're on the end of the street. They say no.
No trucks on that street,
They
right?
continue doing it.
Right, I did notice that.
I noticed that once upon a time, it was a parking lot. And I know you got to go to the city in order to get it approved. Okay, you got it approved. You had a fire marshal, they got big tanks out there coming there load up. This is a residential area, but you got millionaires that run the corporation and they're gonna do what they wanna do. But they still routing out in the neighborhood, and when they load up in the morning for this here big, whatever product they're using over at the shop, you hear all that noise. A whole lot of noise, they
Right.
taking the tanks up.
Right.
You can't get no rest.
Thanks for that
You-
information, Mr.
You're
Archer.
supposed to route out on Urban Street, not in the neighborhood.
Right,
And if you park there, if you parking on the street in your residential area, they gonna blow, the truck's gonna blow their horn, want you to move, and they in the wrong. They supposed to route out on Urban, but they're not, and then, when they open that door up, the big gate door, to load their products out,
Mhm.
they got a big old red sign, I can take you a picture of it every day. They tell you to route out, don't turn there, continue straight. And when the day is over with, they close the gate back up, you don't see the sign anymore. But you see all the trucks standing there waiting, you can't get into your own driveway.
Yep.
No 18-wheelers is
Yeah.
not supposed to be in there, so it is what it is, some don't deal with it, and most of the people in the neighborhood, they've vanished down.
well, we'll start that communication back up again, Mr. Archer, because I remember they had stopped it at one time, at least having them turn down McGovern or turn down, Jackson, and I've seen that too. How would you turn down Jackson and
They're
then,
tearing up the street,
man, yeah,
all over in the neighborhood.
the pole and everything they done hit once
Absolutely.
before, and that's, by the air monitor, that you all have,
By
Matt.
the elementary school.
Uh-huh, yep.
And can you let me know if, it looks like some of these trucks that are parking, maybe going in or they're staging to get into our place,
Mm-mm,
they're not,
mm-mm.
okay,
These are residents who may be a truck driver.
okay,
They're leaving their trailer unmarked, with some type of reflective
okay,
or cone. And you almost hit it because there's no truck, or anything that's attached to it. And so, that's one of the issues that we're having. And then, over by the park, what Mr. Archie is talking about, that's with Martin and their Agra.
Myself, I
Equipment.
still don't know the day, from the day now, how do you get a permit to load up all that stuff, and you're not even 15 feet away from the park, and you got this type.
I wonder if they were grandfathered, but no, they
No,
couldn't
it
have
wasn't,
been.
Cause that was how it used to be
Right.
all labor union hall.
Right.
It wasn't grandfathered in.
I want, so, Mr. Archie, we gonna have to see about that. That permit should be coming back up, huh?
I don't know how often they knew they permit, but you're not gonna move them.
Oh, no, we don't want them to move. We want them to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
We just don't want you and your trucks going the next street over. You have access to Irving Street.
Right.
Take Irving Street, use
Right.
Irving Street. And you gotta back into it, into your plant. And then drive off,
And what they having a house with is the school kids. You got kids that's walking down there.
especially between the hours of 3 and 4.
Right, so I don't know how they were doing it route. At one time, you got your wheelers in there. You got kids walking down the street going to school.
Well, I
You
know
got
that,
lines out there,
Right.
out in your section, and the kids, they see something striking the heart, they gonna look.
yeah.
So while your kids walking to school, what you think they're gonna do while they in their wheelers?
I know that they-
Something new.
Upgraded that fence on that side. I'm not sure if you could still peer on the inside to see what's all going on like I used
You
to
can
do
see
back
it
in
in
the
the
day.
shop when the kids pass by on
Yeah,
the way to school.
especially when that door is wide open.
Right, it's gonna be wide open, cause it's a hot box, and it's just like a heater, you know, welding going on, fitting going on, cutting going on, it's, you know, it's a manufacturer, you know, so.
Right.
it's bad.
The neighbors are seeking resolve to an area of concern, this intersection of Brooklyn and Grant Street. We are seeking resolve to a blind spot issue that has caused accidents and taken lives.
Yeah.
During days of fellowship at the New Hope Deliverance Ministries Church and possibly the St. John Missionary Baptist Church, it has been said that it is hard to see oncoming traffic on Grant Street when stopped at either side of the stop sign on Brooklyn. We have called Brandon Belair and also spoke to Chief about our police chief about feedback for some type of striping or making that
You get flashing lights down.
a no marking or, parking, no parking spot adjacent, because the church is right on the curve. And when they park for Sunday, you actually have to go into Grant Street to see anything that's coming from the west and or east, because they park on both sides, of the street. So what we're asking is if there can be some striping, to keep them off of that corner. I don't think a caution light's gonna happen,
Yeah, I know they.
or even worse. I see people speed smooth through these flashing stop signs.
Right.
So I don't see that happening. I just would like, especially for like, Wednesdays, Sundays, maybe choir rehearsal, those particular days, if there could be, no parking striping of some sort. I've seen, where they have it, sort of kind of marked off. I think that would be ideal. But again, we'll communicate with, Brandon and, the chief and the church, to see what areas of resolve we could possibly implement. Any other questions? Concerns that we need to bring to the director? Awesome. Mr. Terry, you mind praying us out? I don't mind, man, I don't mind. Additional information, if you all please take a gander at that. Make sure, again, we have you, signed in on our sheet so we can communicate the rest of whatever we do with you all. Please bow your heads. Oh, Heavenly Father, we ask you to be gentle on us this evening. We thank you for allowing us to fellowship together. Oh God, we ask that you keep us safe as we go to our places of destination and find it well with our families. Oh Father God, we ask that you just keep our heart and our minds stayed on you. And this day we will always remember. Amen. 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 Thank you all for attending, Ms. Spikes. Thank you, Bruce. You had anything you wanted to give from the post? Shoot me that in the email. Ms. Spikes, I appreciate you showing up. Miss Catherine.
Sign in this.
The sign in is on the bar table, Mr. Archie. Thank y'all for attending. Y'all have a blessed night.
Yeah.